Imagine waking up one day to find that your online business, the one that you've poured your heart and your soul into, was completely wiped out. Sounds scary, right? Well, that's exactly what could happen if the Restrict Act, or S686, becomes law. So today, we're going to review the truth of this controversial piece of legislation and explore the 5 major concerns that could threaten your ability to run an online expert, information marketing, course creation, or really any other online empire. So buckle up, this is going to be a rough one. Welcome back to Renegade News. I'm your host, Glenn Kowalski. Every week on this channel, we discuss the latest news, tactics, and strategies for building a cancer-proof business, breaking free from the system, and living anywhere in the world that you want to. So are you ready to uncover how this act, the 686 Act, might affect your business and your ability to run a renegade business? Well, let's dive right in. First of all, let's talk about freedom of expression and human rights. Well, the Restrict Act exempts certain information services from the Berman amendments. Now, that might sound like a minor thing. You may not have even heard of the Berman amendments, but it could have a massive impact on our ability to express ourselves and to build uncancelable businesses. The Berman amendments are a set of provisions within the U.S. Export Administration Act of 1979. They were named after former Congressman Howard Berman. These amendments aim to protect the free flow of information and ideas by exempting certain types of informational materials from export control regulation. So basically, the Berman amendments ensure that the government cannot restrict the export of information, things like books, newspapers, films, music, artwork, and other types of information. And thereby, it is meant to safeguard the freedom of expression and the open exchange of ideas across borders. Well, we need to pay really close attention to how this act develops because it could potentially undermine the very foundations of that act and the very foundations of a democratic society in general and to our online empires that we're building. The second concern that we really need to look at is the broad authority that this act grants the executive branch, which is always a terrifying thing. This act allows them to block transactions and holdings of foreign adversaries, but without any proper oversight or transparency. So that means the decisions can be made without any necessary checks or balances, and we have to rely on those checks and balances to keep the government's power in check. Well, as a renegade entrepreneur, we know how crucial it is to maintain that balance of power, and this act could put that balance at risk. Now, let's discuss TikTok and other technologies as well. This has been called the TikTok Act, even though it doesn't mention TikTok anywhere. Well, the Restrict Act could potentially result in a ban on any popular platform with any clear justification of that. Now, as online experts, coaches, course creators, information marketers, that raises questions about the government's ability to just arbitrarily ban the apps and the services that we use in our business every day. They might be built into our service, into our processes. They may be built into how we actually market, how we actually run our business. Now, the executive branch has the ability to just cancel those at any time just because they don't like the country that it happens to come from. So we have to ask ourselves, is this truly the best way to protect our data privacy? By using an act like this? That's how the act has been positioned and portrayed to us as a way to protect our data privacy from China and the TikTok. And that's how they've been trying to sell it to us. But really, is an act that can block us using tools that we've come to rely on the best way to protect our data privacy? And is it the best way to allow us to continue to build our cancer-proof online businesses? Well, of course not. The fourth concern is a big one. In fact, it's huge, and that's the potential for criminal penalties for anybody who dares to evade the mitigation measures and the mitigation laws that they're putting in place. So this is a huge blow to all of us, and it's a huge important point for any of us who consider ourselves to be completely law-abiding. So for an example, using a VPN to access a restricted app could land you in some really hot water. So if you use an app or use a VPN to actually get access to TikTok if it's banned, for example, or if you use a VPN to access any type of application that comes from another part of the world that the US doesn't happen to like, you could get in some really serious trouble. And by hot water and by trouble, I mean up to 20 years in jail and up to $250,000 in fines. Now, the bill sponsors, of course, are going to claim that the criminal provisions target corporations and executives, and it's not targeting individuals. Well, the problem is the language is so vague that it still causes concern. And just because a lot of experts have said that it probably couldn't be used in a court case by a prosecutor, that doesn't mean they're not going to try. And as entrepreneurs who are seeking freedom and independence, do we really want to live in a world where using a VPN something as simple, something that most of us use every day, could lead to potential criminal charges and time in prison, hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines. Finally, the Restrict Act gives the Commerce Secretary the power to demand information from any party who's involved in a transaction or holding under review. That could lead to user data being shared with the government, raising serious privacy concerns. And this can even step into, due to the vagueness of the language, this law could actually step into and block you using cryptocurrency transactions, for example. It could make using Bitcoin illegal for certain transactions. In fact, using it at all, if there's a third-party country anywhere within the chain of events that's going on. And that all raises serious, serious privacy concerns. So as we continue to build our online businesses and we're building this sort of cancel-proof fortress that we're trying to build, data privacy is critical and crucial to us. And that makes that particular aspect of the act particularly troubling. So renegades, the Restrict Act, it raises some serious red flags. And for those of us who are seeking to build cancel-proof businesses that are defying cancel culture and censorship and are trying to get a big message and a big impact out, we need to continue to fight for our online freedom. We have to keep concerns and laws like this in mind and continually fight against legislation that attempts to undermine our vision of an unstoppable, cancel-proof, high-impact business. Now remember, if you want to stay up to date on topics like this and continue to build your online cancel-proof empire and make a massive impact with your message, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the notification button and join our growing community of renegade entrepreneurs. Together, we really can overcome all of these obstacles that come in our way, but we have to work together and we need strategies and tactics to be able to do that. Also, check out the other video that you see on the screen right now for another video where we were discussing this draconian new act. I'm Glenn Kowalski from Renegade News, and I'll see you over there.